So let me just give me, please, 15 seconds. I can light this up. And then, Joe, while I'm doing that, put up that
I have
that
it.
thing you sent us. Okay, I'll be right back.
What's this here, bro?
You sent something to us? I missed it.
Last night I sent a text that said, let's see. I said it was an audio.
Oh, that clip of the guys talk about Tony.
Yeah, there was like
right. Yeah, I saw
like a Twitter Spaces of like AEW podcasters, fans, Twitter guys. I don't know any of them, so I can't help. I can't say, hey, this. All I saw was like one or two names, but these guys are all, laughing about Tony in this call and saying he calls them motherfuckers and yells at him and shit when he gets mad. So that's fucking, and it's like, we've heard that. We've heard that he does that. So
interesting. One of the JFK files is going to be actually like he signed the order.
So within 15 days.
Within 15 days.
Must be released within 15 days. I don't think. I think we all kind of know the deal. I think what's been hidden is the fact that George H.W. Bush was involved in the CIA at the time. I think they were protecting him for a while. Not that he made the call or did, but I'm sure he knew things, so they protected that. Probably maybe even LBJ, Hoover.
I got a question for you, Joe, before you start this, okay?
Yep.
Who is this that's talking on the thing?
I was just saying that to Disco. So from what I understand, this was like a Twitter Spaces thing, and it was a few guys that got together that are like AEW fans, podcasters. They tweet
influencers. Like
I don't know them. The only name I saw was a guy called the Wrestling Purist.
Right.
Like another guy, but I don't know them. But it's just like I don't know if this was leaked or whatever. This site or this Twitter account put it up though. So it's guys that Tony contacted and basically, why the fuck are you bad mouthing my show? That's basically what it is.
Okay, let me just say something real quick because I want people to understand something.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an old listener, you already know this story. I'll condense it for the newer listeners, and you can go in our archives and you can listen to the details. So I go to Tony wants to talk with me, and so if I see him, I think it was in Orlando. Yeah, it was Orlando. And I go in there, and Pat Buck and Chris Daniels are in the office. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing here? And he's like, oh, they're witnesses. And I'm thinking, man, witness of what? You think I'm going to kick your ass or, what's going on here? And then, but he wanted them as witnesses. So anything I said and he said, witnesses were there to hear it, right?
Correct.
And there was one part where I said, well, I get it, Tony. So you don't want me to work with WWE, right? To do nothing with him because we had just taken the titles off the FTR and given him the Dragon Lee and his brother Dralistico, right? Mm-hmm. And bro, he was like, no, I never said that. I never said. And I was like, what a spoiled brat, And so when this guy's imitating him here, bro, it's the same way he talked to me. Right. I even told the story to Pentagon and he goes, yeah, did he kick the stairs after he did that? I go, wasn't in the ring. And I go, what are you talking about? Yeah, he had a meeting where he kicked the stairs and he kicked the rings and he threw the same tantrum. I go, is he not embarrassed? He goes, obviously not. And then another, and I'm not going to say his name because he's an AEW, another big star. I told him the story too. And he was, yeah, was he throwing shit and throwing? I go, no, I wasn't throwing shit, but obviously this guy's done it before, right? And so when I heard this, what you're going to hear right now, the guy imitating Tony is exactly what he does. And he's done it to me twice. And you know who another guy that did that to me once, Disco?
Who?
Ryan Satin.
Right.
So he called me privately, and we had said something about him and his girlfriend that he doesn't get. And he goes, I fuck my girlfriend every day. And I go fuck yourself. And since then, we've never talked. But go ahead.
All right. So here's this clip.
Divulge this here, bro. There was a time when y'all were jumping Tony in this was around Full Gear last year when Jay White got cooked by MJF. I forgot what exactly happened, but it was a week where people were just jumping Tony in late 2023. And Tony just ran to me to just start yelling and ranting.
He's like, I'm not fucking selling for these guys.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to fucking sell. I'm not going to fucking sell. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this fucking shit.
Nobody appreciates me.
Yeah, nobody fucking appreciates me. No one fucking appreciates me. He also hit me with the, tell your fucking friend tell your fucking friend that guy being CM Punk. He was like, tell your fucking friend A, B, and C. Maybe he wasn't so fucking selfish. All right. I'm like, why are you yelling at me?
He
Why?
would never say it to. He would never say that to his face.
You would never, never.
I remember hitting him with the, bro, debut Mercedes, and he was like, no, she's fucking hurt. Her ankle is broken. She's on a fucking walking boot. And I'm like, but very funny conversation. But yeah, very. So I think I'll have to say, he.
Dude, do you know what this? Do you know what this sounds like?
Yep.
To me,
Yep.
is this is like a complete mirror of the way the wrestling media, okay, and AEW have worked in conjunction to protect their image.
Right.
Okay. And it's just like the Biden administration media. We're hearing all the stories. You know, now they're kind of like, you know, did you hear the story the other day, Conan, where the Speaker of the House guy had an interview with Barry Weiss, and he was talking about how he went to a meeting with Biden, and they were all there because it was like, he said, "Oh, there's like an ambush." He requested a meeting with Biden, right? Joe, find that quick little sip. I want you to hear this, okay? Because it just reminds me, you know, when I hear like Dave, you know, Sean Fightful, all these guys, it's like they're all fans and promoters of AEW first and foremost. And they're just not really.
Yeah, because bro, you've got to understand this.
Check this. This is.
Let me just say this real quick. You've got to understand. At the end of the day, they're still fanboys,
right?
And they don't want to be in an industry where they can't go to the scrums or have access to the wrestlers, right? So they're gonna, you know, assuage. That's a great word. Tony. And Tony just sounds like probably when he was a little kid, he was spoiled brat, and his dad was, yeah, whatever you want, just calm down, calm down. Well, and he thinks he can talk to anybody like that. And as you know, the law of probabilities is he's going to get some motherfucker who's sick and tired and is on his way out, and he's going to get cracked one day.
Right. Listen to this. Watch this. This is fascinating.
At all. I mean, you know, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not... obviously has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, you know, year and a half since I've had this.
Can you tell us the story when you say personal observation?
Well, I mean, it's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked, I became speaker in October 2023. And there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on. And I started requesting a meeting with the president because, you know, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him. And his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill press corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, you know, the CIA director, everybody. And then so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander in chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office, right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. You know, this is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, you know, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, you know. And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. I said, Mr. President, Yes, you did. It was an executive order, like, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? Like, I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
So,
well, it's obviously the people that were in the office.
well, not just that, the press too.
Yeah.
Like that. That's my point here. Is like they know what's going on. They don't want to report it.
Well,
They
not
don't like
just,
you know.
not,
You know,
not
it's like
ju-
they're scared, or like the
don't
narrative.
want access either, just like Konnan was saying.
No, there's two things that I think that stand out to me. There's two wrestlers. One's Perro Aguayo, the other one's I think Cien Cara. So for a lot of years, I was like, hey man, can I talk to Perro? And they say, oh no, he's sleeping or he's busy. And then I found out from a very close mutual friend, he had dementia.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when I went to his son's funeral, Perro Aguayo Jr., remember that he passed away in Tijuana?
Right, that died.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were inside the thing where the casket was, and the dad goes, and this is when I said, "Oh my God." He goes, "I can't wait till my son gets here." His son was in the casket. He didn't even know he was dead.
Wow.
You know, and that really hit me hard. But anyways, he probably has a little bit of dementia. They don't want people to notice that. Plus, this is what I'm thinking: that inner circle, Schumer and Kamala and whoever else was in there, they're running the country, and they didn't want to relinquish control.
Right.
Because here's the president not even knowing what he signed. That's why I said yesterday that when they gave him those 2,500 pardons, do you actually think Joe went through every single one and knew who
they're
were
sliding
they were?
pieces of paper in front of the guy and say, sign this.
Yeah.
So serious, like literally, I want to know. It's like, I want to know, because he said later on that he goes, I want to know who's giving him these things to sign.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is
that people that were in his office.
But the thing is that the media was painting, the left-wing media was painting the Biden administration
because they hate Trump. They hate Trump, and that to them was like, we don't want this guy to look bad because we want to win the next election.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know why I feel bad for Tony? Just to get heat on the show and then YouTube and all that. I feel. Here's what I feel. I think he and I are close to the same age. You grew up the same kind of fan. We went to the same kind of shows. We had the same nerdy booking shit. We played the same.
Were you a message board guy too?
I was a little bit, not like I was like a lurker, as I'm sure Conan's not surprised. I was a voyeur, if you will. But I posted a little. But he has all this. He has my dad was a sales guy. My mom worked in a nursery. I didn't have billions. I'll never run a wrestling company. Tony had the opportunity. He's coming at it from a place of, I used to be friendly with all the hardcore fans. I was on the boards. I know how they think. I'm using guys they're supposed to like. I'm spending my money on it. And all they do is shit on me. And I can see him.
Because the show sucks, Joe.
Right. But he thinks he's giving them what they want from years of talking to them. And then he finds out that's not actually.
Does he, bro, he reads every comment. Does he not read what people are saying? And he is not watching or doesn't care about how all the numbers across the board, all the metrics that you need to be successful are dropping?
Right.
So why do you feel sorry for him?
I just think he's been taken massively by surprise. He thought he's delivering exactly what everybody's wanted for years, an alternative and all this. And then it happens and everybody turns on him, and he doesn't get it. That's what I see. He's like,
well, here's the problem is that first and foremost, he elected to start a company with guys that Jim Cornette despises. Okay, and Jim Cornette is not the type of guy that's quiet. Okay, he's a very loud voice and a very influential voice. Everybody listens to Cornette, like whether or not you like him or not. The guy
he's
knows
great
his
to
shit.
listen to. Yeah,
the guy knows his shit. Okay, he's one of the more arguably most like on the Mount Rushmore of people in this business that are knowledgeable in the business. Cornette's probably on that mount on that Mount.
And you know
Rushmore,
what's
okay?
funny? That he's just like Paul Heyman. They were both photographers when they were teenagers, and they grew up in the old system to the modern system.
Yeah.
Correct. So what's happened is that there's because Cornette has picked, despised Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Okay, those are Dave's guys. Okay, and David's friends with them, and Dave's promoted them and everything. So the battle lines were drawn right off the bat from the toxicity of this company's inception. You have Jim Cornette, who's on the Mount Rushmore of knowledge in this business, and Dave Meltzer, who is the paper of record, the wrestling media. It's almost like you have like a same situation with Trump and like the press, Trump versus the press. Okay, so what's happened is that Tony has elected to basically take Dave's side, and like on all of these positions and issues on how I'm going to book the company. Okay, good matches, the 4-star. We're pretty, just whatever like feeds Dave and his fan base. Tony is elected to do that, and what it's done is the guys of on the other side, that like the Jim Cornette fans and people like us and everything. It's like, dude, you're not listening to us at all. It's like, how long are you going to continue down this path without listening to what what we're telling you needs to be done? And as long as then you just see him, the way he's handling it is like he's combative against people like us, and bro, all we're doing is saying, dude, your metrics aren't good right now. Like, I've worked in companies that have gone out of business. I've seen when the numbers, the ratings are going down and the attendance is going down. There's things that need to be done. The mistakes have been made. These are what you need to do to correct the mistakes. And it's like he's chosen to combat people that are challenging, the reasons that like the way he books, the way he writes the shows, and the numbers. Yeah.
And this is not good. He only wants to listen to people that tell him what he wants to hear. You've always got to have an opposing viewpoint, because like I've said before, I never learned anything from anybody that, agreed with everything I said, right? There's no learning there. So that's why I like talking with you, because we'll butt heads, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, maybe he does have a point. Now look it up or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and the other thing is, bro, anybody that's got, common sense, if your company in popularity, buzz, numbers, everything, right, started off here and it's going down here, why are you no-selling that?
Right.
It's like, all right, there's got a problem. Hey, guys. Hey, Jericho. Hey, Edge. Hey, whoever it is, right? You guys that have more experience than me, what can we do to turn this around?
Right.
Right? And you can see that's hasn't happened.
Right.
He doesn't have anybody to answer to. And I've said it to you guys on here before. This is widespread in entertainment. In the video game.
But let me just say one thing real quick. So Dorian Rodan is my boss, right? Very smart guy, very cool guy. But he'll come to me in a lot of stuff, and he'll be like, what would you do in this situation? Or give me some advice. Sometimes he doesn't take it, right? Mm-hmm. But most of the time he does. So he knows, bro, I'm a 30-year veteran, done it all, been everywhere, Like, he'll come to me, and I don't think he goes to anybody in AEW and says that. He's just like, oh, well, if Edge says, I got a good idea for an angle, all right, let me hear it, but other than that, it just doesn't seem like he's.
Well, bro, let me throw another thing at you too. We're just looking at this from the wrestling bubble aspect, okay?
Right.
Dude, that family owns the Jacksonville Jaguars too.
Right.
And look at the management issues they're having trying to run that football team. Bro, they just fired the coach. They just fired the general manager.
Bro,
the team was terrible.
Have they have bad luck in coaches or what?
Bro, this just goes to show you.
Does their soccer team have problems too, or are they successful?
This goes to show you, okay, that when you come from the aspect, you're a rich fan, and that's all you are. Your history, like the things, you're a fan, and you buy into these businesses, and it's like you don't surround yourself with the right people or listen to their advice, you're not going to have any success.
Right.
So like, I mean, it's just across the board.
Bro, I love saying this because it's always going to ring true. When you saw George Bush walk in with Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell and Cheney.
Well,
Like, you knew these motherfuckers knew what they were doing, you
Right.
know? And you're thinking, this guy's smart because he surrounded himself with smart people, a lot of them much smarter than him. And that's a smart thing to do. You don't got to pretend you're the smartest guy in the room when you ain't.
Right.
You just say, you know, like, if I were to start a promotion, I'd get the best of the best to surround me, to challenge me, to give me good ideas. Not, well, this is how it is and this is the way it's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to throw this out there, and I think everybody knows the answer to this question.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, Tony's been very loyal, but,
Mhm.
you know, what if Tony drew a line in the sand a while back and said, hey, look, you know, Kenny, Bucks, you know, thank you. We started this everything, but, you know, right now I just want to use you guys as talent. I want my right hand men to be Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, and like how their business, like with those two guys in his ear going forward, instead of like, you know, like the, you know, Meltzer's fan, the stuff that Dave's fanboys of. It's like, I just wonder how this company would be right now if he had stuck with listening to Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, and like from 3 years ago.
That's why
I don't think
that's
anybody
why
would argue
Cody
they'd be in a different spot right now. You know,
That's why
Yeah.
Cody and Punk, I respect them for this reason, because they could have just stayed. Bro, Cody was a vice president and had every perk. He could have stayed there in a cushy position. Nobody's going to push him out of the way. He'd get his TV time, his money, and all his perks. But he saw the writing on the wall.
Right.
Said, fuck this. So did CM Punk.
Yeah. And then say, I'm in the prime of my career right now. I don't want to waste these very
With
valuable
this
years.
fucking guy that doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah.
Right. And then thinks he knows what he's doing because they're having good matches. And he won that.
But let me just say this. If you wanted somebody to help you grow in this industry, do you want to be with Tony Khan or do you want to be with Paul Heyman and Triple H?
Paul Heyman and Triple H, obviously. But there's another thing, too. I wonder, like, you know, how much weight it held with a guy like Cody, because I don't know Cody. Maybe you know, you have conversations, but
Yeah.
you see the way he conducts himself. Like, how did it resonate with a guy like him that this guy is putting over the fact that he's selling himself winning the Booker of the Year? Like then they think about that, you know, like an old school, the son of Dusty Rhodes, right? And could you imagine if Dusty Rhodes was selling like, hey, I won the Booker of the Year? And bro, remember that they're putting on the show, the Meltzer Award ratings and stuff. You know, it's like, I mean, think about that. You know, it's like, dude, it's like this is just a show for these fans, the Observer fan base, the smart marks, and we're doing the show. And it's like, okay, you did that. 5 years later, dude, you're having trouble filling your arenas and having people watching the show still. You know, so it's like,
stopped
whatever.
watching. So, but what I wanted to say prior was, we've talked about this before, and it's the term toxic positivity.
Right.
No one's going to tell you that it's bad, and no one's going to, it's Emperor's New Clothes or whatever. And it's like I said about the comic industry and movies and video games. Fans are telling these companies in video games and comics, we don't really particularly want DEI shit or politically correct or trans scars.
Bro, how great, I'm sorry, I just want to say this real quick because I know you both saw it. How great was it when Trump signed that thing and he says, we're doing away with DEI?
Right, yeah. Everything,
How
right, yeah.
great was that?
He just all the woke shit that we've been dealing with over the past 3-4 years. He just signed off and said, we're not doing this anymore.
Done.
Right.
You know, just like in the snap of a finger. And now it's like all the people are canceling their DEI. It's like, you know, that's how easy it was. You know what I'm saying? So.
What were you saying, Joe?
Just I'll make it quick. The companies, the comic companies, the video games and movies that kept continuously pushing woke characters and taking out old characters, and it's always the girl boss on top. Video game companies have crashed. A lot of them have closed. WBD lost a shitload of money on video games like Suicide Squad because they pushed that narrative. Even as people on Twitter and fans were saying, we don't like this, we don't like this, we don't like this. They kept pushing it, and now these companies are getting rid of their DEI, or they're getting rid of the people that ran these games because they're accountable to stockholders. That's all I meant was Tony's
Bro,
not
but
necessarily accountable.
He's accountable to the fans, dude.
To the fans,
and that's why that's why he's lost so much, because he's being oblivious to what they want. Okay, he's only hearing what he wants to hear. Okay, and he's no selling the fact. I don't want him to go on Twitter and go, oh my God, why are ratings falling? But what are you doing, dude, to bring your numbers up? You just, obviously you've seen that hiring the most, you know, name people like Monet and
Okada, Osprey, all
right,
these big
all those
signings,
people, and they haven't made a difference.
They've lost 200,000 fans.
At what point do you sit down and go, "Hey guys, we got to save this company. What should we do?"
Yeah, because then it shows some humility. Because, brother, you're not a wrestling expert just because you're in the Dave Meltzer's message boards and you have $1 billion.
Right.
You still haven't, bro. You never were behind the curtain before this started, and you're behind the curtain now, and it's like you're acting like you've been behind the curtain for 20
Well,
years because you read the dirt sheets. It's
right.
like, come
that
on,
should be an example for everybody that thinks they know so much about the business when they've never been behind the scenes.
Right.
That's your example right there, because he's the fan's fan.
Yeah.
Message boards, nerdy games.
It does not make you an expert or let you
Right.
that does not teach you how to do this shit. What teach you how to do this shit is being behind the curtain and working with the people that have done this shit before.
What's the sport you know the most, Disco?
Football.
Football. Okay. Imagine if they made you the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
I would
You wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
No,
and you know your football.
Right. I would I'd go like just start hiring people people to hire people.
Right.
Right. I would like hire the people myself. I would hire somebody to do the hiring.
Right.
Right. So
because you're smart enough to know I'm a fan. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know the real inner workings, and until you've been there, you don't know, bro.
Yep. Exactly.
That's like if I had $1 billion and I owned a company that was on national TV, I would bring in the most brilliant creative mind in wrestling that I know and let him run. And that would be Raven, of course. Raven would be my second in command there. And
interesting. Yeah, you'd be out of business in a short period of time.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.